about struggle. There's no easy ticket in Hollywood, but it is possible. So that's good news. And especially with the digital age right now, there's so many outlets that opened up for filmmakers that is just incredible. I mean, the studios are the most profitable they've ever been right now. The TV networks are flourishing. They're coming up all over the place. Red Bull, the drink, has a TV network as well. YouTube Red, as you guys know, does original programming, and Hulu and Netflix and Amazon. So there's so much opportunity for filmmakers right now. How I've been struggling? Well, you know, I'm trying to get a couple of TV series on the air. I have a lot of interest in both television series, but it's been quite a few months of negotiating and meetings and writing the script, the pilot script, and rewriting and doing the series document, which it's a more developed document that talks about the entire season, the arc of the season, the characters, the tone, the description, and so forth. So all of these elements have to be approved by the network, by the studio, by the executive producers, and so on, so that a deal can be made. So it's a struggle. I mean, it's not easy. There's a lot of competition. Whenever there's opportunity, there's competition, as you guys know. So for a filmmaker, it's very, very interesting. Now, the downside to this is that because of the digital age, the independent feature film, the traditional independent feature film, is not doing as well. So keeping that in mind, you have to understand that if you want to shoot an independent feature film, my advice to you guys is the first thing that you do is you find a sales agent. And that is before you shoot anything, before you go to development, before you do any of that stuff, find your source of distribution. Because what is the most important thing about making movies? The most important element, is it the script? Is it how good it is? Is it who's in the movie? All of those are important, but what is the most important? The most important is selling your movie. Because the only way you can make a second movie is to sell your first one. So the first thing that you do is you find a sales agent or a distribution company that believes in your idea. That means a synopsis or a treatment, lots of phone calls, lots of emails until you find the right distribution partner that says, okay, in order for this movie to be sold, to be successful, these things have to happen within the script, within the production, within post, for deliverables, and so forth. And I believe your previous guest was talking about, I made a note here about marketing, finding your market, right? That is very, very crucial to understand where your movie is going to end up. And most likely, in today's day and age, your movie is going to end up on paid television. So pay TV, international pay TV, is where most independent feature films recoup their money, their investment. DVD right now is really, I mean, DVD used to be the place where independent feature films ended up because they wouldn't go to theatrical distribution, they wouldn't end up on TV, but they would end up on home video. Well, the home video market has been diminishing, less and less and less. So an independent feature film producer could expect somewhere around 80,000 to 150,000 from the home video market. In today's day and age, you're looking at maybe $20,000 to $30,000 for a title. So you can see the difference in price. However, if you understand that your film is going to end up on pay TV in the international circuit, then what do? Well, you have to figure out what television actor has a TV series that's playing in those markets right now. And those type of actors will be very, very crucial to be cast in your film, because they will be able to make your sale for you, right? But these are all questions that you have to ask your sales agent based on whatever genre, whatever story you want to tell.
That's pretty, yes, that was a cool trick. But how do you survive let's talk a little bit more about this digital revolution and the new platforms. And
Yeah.
If you can tell us your perspective from yours and your friend's perspective from the Hollywood perspective, working with large studios.
Well, okay, so let me understand the question. What's specific? Because that's such a broad area. The digital platform is really, really broad right now.
Yes. Well, what, people used to talk, let's say, mostly about distribution in my genre and documentary about PBS. Now we are talking about Netflix. Even today, one of the speakers was talking, actually moving documentaries into movie theaters. You used to talk about theaters, then television. What is the talk right now, the top on the street?
Look, from my experience.
Distribution, yes.
Distribution, right. So from my experience right now, the digital platforms are really the future. I mean, television is the future. In my opinion, if you guys can go into the television arena and work on television series, which essentially, right now, there's so many producers working in that arena, it's just shorter subject project. So if you take
let me just jump in. So let's talk about Red versus Netflix, Hulu, and then you're talking about other OTT, other television station. Which one are the hottest right now?
They're all hot. I mean, Netflix is, as you guys know, has, I don't know, somewhere around 100 million subscribers or something like that. Hulu has a wide range of product, from original programming to Happy Days and those type of shows from the past. I believe, and I would love to work with Amazon, because I think Amazon is going to be a huge player in the market. And they have the money, they have the power, they have the influence, and I think that they're going to be kings in this industry. I think they're going to swallow up all of the smaller ones eventually within 5 to 10 years. We're going to end up with having the same amount of major studios as we have today, which, you're looking about 6, 7, 8 major players in Hollywood that work on digital projects, digital platform projects, which is a shorter subject project, equal to the 45 to 60 minute television series. But it's not going to be the traditional 22 episodes. They're going to go to the shorter 10 to 13 episodes. And that's what we're seeing right now.
Okay, what about YouTube Red? It seems like YouTube is more approachable. And tell us a little bit about the process.
I'm not familiar. YouTube Red just came on the scene, I think, last year or the year before. I'm not sure exactly. I haven't dealt with YouTube Red. My personal preference is to go for the bigger players in town, which, like I said, Netflix, Amazon, the Hulus of the world, and so forth. So I'm not too familiar with YouTube Red and what type of programming they're looking for, but I would imagine that they're looking for an audience of about 15 to 35 years in age.
So the people you're talking to, let's say Netflix or Hulu, are those the same people who just moved from the old television studios in Hollywood to these new digital platforms? So you're still talking to the same people who work for somebody else? Or those are new people?
Exactly. I mean, executives move around just like in any other profession. When something new emerges, you move around. You look for new opportunities. For example, Crackle is another one. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Crackle, but that's another very, very good platform for independent filmmakers to explore, and that's a Sony-owned company. You can go to crackle.com and see their product. They have original programming, and they also have the oldies. But yeah, I mean, Sony executives moved from the main Sony studio offices to their Crackle offices just across the hallway from, on the Sony lot. So yeah, so Hollywood is run by the same people, essentially. A new crop comes in every year, but it's the same executives that move around from place to place. And as technology develops and new opportunities emerge, then they move into those positions.
So your advice in surviving digital revolution is just to talk to the same old people.
Well, they're not so old. Let me tell you, I find that when I go to the meetings, I'm older than the executive that I'm speaking with. So, Hollywood is run by a lot of young good-looking people. But yeah, essentially, you're talking to the same people that are at the studios that are now running the digital platform.
All right. Thank you. You guys have any questions? I have all my questions right now.
So, you might ask me, if someone is producing a picture that is not a well-known actor that's involved in it, what would his advice be? What kind of genre of movie that person make if he wants to be able to sell that movie?
Without this famous person?
Yeah, if the actor is not someone that people are with.
Well, he's coming back. Did you hear the question?
I did not, no.
Okay, the question is in relation to your first advice to use a known actor in the region that you are planning to sell your movie to. What if you have a great project without the famous actor? How do you go about this? What's the approach without famous actor in this particular region?
Right. So depends on the great project. How great is the project? Have we ever seen that storyline before? Is it unique? Is it something revolutionary? Is it something that's in the news today? I mean, what is the great project? I mean, I believe that my projects are the greatest in the world. But when I go and I talk to the executives, they say that they're not. So I know they're lying. But look, I mean, I'm making jokes now, but essentially we all believe that we have a great project, but we have to convince the buyer that our project is great. So how do you go about doing that? Well, again, you have to reach out to the people that are going to be selling your project. And those are the distribution executives and the acquisitions executives, depending on if your project is a feature film or a television series. Acquisitions could be from studio executive working in acquisitions to somebody in development at a digital platform or television network. So those are the people that will be buying your project, or a sales executive, a sales agent that's an independent company that works in selling independent feature films. So these are the people that you have to convince that your project is the greatest and that your project is going to sell without that familiar face on the poster or on the screen. That's it.
Okay.
That's how you go about doing that. You have to convince. I believe your previous guest also mentioned that you have to be a great salesman, and that's the case. There's no magic formula here, guys. I mean, there's nothing magical about making a movie. I know that Disney says it's magic, but it's really not. It's nuts and bolts. Yes, sir.
Yeah, hi. Why do you think Amazon's going to be such a big player in the future, and what types of platforms is it going to provide?
Hello? Okay, so it cut out for a good 5 seconds or so. Can you repeat the question?
Why do you think Amazon's going to be such a big player in the future?
Well, I think that they're going to be a big player because I think they have the financial power, and Hollywood is all about money. You know, I know we talk about stories and about being creative and all that, but really the nuts and bolts of Hollywood is finances. And Amazon has the ability to finance, and they're involved in so many different industries. I believe that they're going to be the next big player. They are the next big player right now. I mean, let's face it, they have award-winning shows. Emmy, they won an Emmy with one of their first shows out. So they're going to be a big player in this business. I mean, why, again, I could be wrong about it, but I don't think I am. And it all boils down to money. If you have money, you can make great product. Why? Because you can hire great people to work on your product and you can buy great stories.